so you just join. So welcome. I don't know whether more members will be joining. So far we have, this is, tell him I will pick later. I'm in class. Yeah. So how was your day? How was your day?
Fine.
How was your day? Oh, it was fine, eh? Okay, good. I think we can start right away. I want to give a small talk on the unit of managing change. Later, we'll be joined by Mr. Kajumbi. I don't know whether it's on yet. He will also give a small talk on effective leadership. Now, let me start with managing change. Currently, we are in a highly dynamic world where the only constant thing that is change. And that is why this was included in your unit. Because whether you like it or not, you will be in a situation where you have to manage change. And what is a challenge to somebody who is a manager? Every manager today desires to run a center of excellence. But the challenge is you are going to try to run a center of excellence in the background of highly dynamic and competitive business environment. And this is not going to get any better. I'm not going to lie here that I'll be a prophet of hope. No, this is going to get murky. It's going to get noisy. It's going to get a lot more chaotic. So the more you understand that, the better, because you're going to manage in situations which are highly dynamic, highly competitive, and they're going to get a lot more competitive. Right now, people are talking post-COVID business strategies. Now, just think of that. And the basis of everything you're doing today is knowledge. And lifespan of knowledge is hardly 500 days, which means whatever you know and you think you know will become irrelevant so fast. And the fact that everything is becoming irrelevant means that the paradigm in which you're doing what you're doing is going to change so fast. And me as a Kenyan, I don't want to know. I'm a taxpayer. What I expect is roll out to me quality, roll out to me quality so fast, roll it out conveniently. How is your problem as a manager? Yeah, I expect you to roll out quality, roll it out so fast, you roll it out competitively, roll it out uniquely. But again, you're rolling it out in a world-class standard. And then again, even world-class is not good enough nowadays. We expect you to go beyond world-class because some of the world-class concepts are also irrelevant already. The fact that so many people do something and they continue doing it all the time does not make it right. And that is the trap in which third world has been falling, where we keep doing things, we continue doing them just because the world is doing them, whether they're making sense or not. So we want a situation where you, as a manager, given authority and responsibility, then can you come up with a way whereby you can be rolling out to us with the limited resources we have, you can be rolling out to us unique and better services, roll them out to us conveniently, roll them out uniquely, and roll them out sustainably. And when you are going to attempt to do this, then that organization you are going to run and how you are running it, it must be ever learning, ever changing. Yeah. If it is not ever learning, ever changing, you're wasting time. So make sure that, number one, you design your organization in such a way that by strategic design, it's highly flexible. It can be able to learn and change all the time. That's when you'll cope. Otherwise, you'll be relevant. And today, once you're irrelevant and you're in a wrong paradigm, you will always be in a wrong paradigm. And this world, nobody owes you anything. Nobody owes us as Kenyans anything. It's your competitiveness that will give you a chance to survive. And if you can't come up with robustness internally, that will make you create competitive advantages because you're ever changing, ever learning, then again, you are going nowhere. And by nature, people hate change. And I want you to get that clearly. By nature, all the studies that have been done, some of the oldest motivational theories, like Maslow's theory and all this, what we love is predictability and certainty. Yeah. But now the challenge is that can't work now. That can't work. And you are going to make people who are ever learning, ever changing, but people who are naturally predetermined situations, naturally predictability. So by nature, any human being is supposed to hate change. So how are you going to go about this? I want us to be very careful about this. Not that it cannot be done. It can be done. But number one, when you're preparing people for change, number one, don't ambush people with change. If you're a leader of quality, then you should have predicted and anticipated need for change. That's why you have to have a mentality that is pro-change, because situations in which you're managing are highly changing. We are never going to get a paradigm today that will last for so long. And that's why in most cases, assumptions on which you're doing whatever you're doing, if you're not careful, then it's already wrong. So be in a situation where you're pragmatic and proactive. Yeah. And today, you need a lot of info so that you create perceptions and understand and anticipate need for change. Whoever will anticipate need for change will manage change and will lead change. Whoever will not anticipate it, change will be changing them. Change will be managing them. And believe you me, you don't want to be a manager who is reactive. These are not times of reactivity. These are times of proactivity. So key thing, number one, get that very, very clearly. Anticipate need for change. See it coming. And now, how do you do this in a modern corporate situation? Please, please, please be very strategic in thinking. You need quality strategic plans. You heard me. Quality strategic plans will make you interrogate paradigms upon which your planning basis is based. And today, if you're doing any strategic planning, please, please, please don't go the way of Potter 5. All those are gone now. There's this new strategy, which we call blue ocean strategy. This is going to force you to question assumptions properly and model it properly so that you can manage change. So in the process of anticipating change, you need decision support systems and plans which are of quality. And in your planning process, any planning process is a pro-change process because it's questioning paradigms. So I expect you to anticipate that through proper planning. So you need info. You need right information. And that's why we are no longer in a resource-based economy. We are now in knowledge-based economy. Now you will have to create knowledge so that your knowledge, the knowledge you create, is unique enough to make you competitive in the right paradigm. If the knowledge you are creating is not relevant, I think you'll be you will be working hard, doing wrong things, expecting a different thing. No, that will not work. That is now, maybe in your reading, you need to read Kim and Rene, Blue Ocean Strategy. Then again, they've also written how to shift the strategy now. So please forget about Potter 5, forget about all thinking in anticipating plans and all that. So number one, I repeat again, you must anticipate change. See it coming. When you can anticipate and perceive it, then you can plan around it. Number two, come up with a plan on how you're going to manage change. You cannot afford to be reactive today. And not in a poor country where we don't have resources and the mega resources we have to put them where they add the highest value in terms of competitiveness. So what are you going to do? You're going to plan how to manage change in such a way, get change agents, Sell out your idea to the change agents. Use them to manage change. And then again, in the process of planning that change, give people time to internalize and relate and understand the impact of change. Once you've done that, get to stage 3 now. These people who are going to be impacted by the change, then work with them. Come around with plans on how you are going to cushion them. Because whether you like it or not, these things are going to happen. Some people might need reskilling. Some people might need redesigns of work. Some people, you may need to atomize. Atomizing is you outsource, then you become lean. If situations call for that, those are things you have to do now. You really have to think of outsourcing, of networking, of collaborations. Yeah. And what I could call piggy riding, using other people's money and resources to do your thing. And that's how things are today. So put this into your change program. Yeah, you have to train people into those areas. And then if at all you are going to lay off people, come up with programs of laying them off and cushioning them in the process so that change can be managed. Because we want a situation where all change processes are not reactive, but proactive, and then sustain the process so that people don't get to hate change. Because if at all you ambush us with need for change, then you have just thrown us into a panic. Then the next thing, we are going to resist change. Yeah, we are going to resist it because you are a poor change manager, and we don't see you managing change. We see change managing you. And in such a case, anybody will chicken out and they say, no, we can't take this. Yeah. And then eventually execute the program. Yeah, and as you execute the program, you evaluate the program also, whether it's working as per how you wanted it or not. Okay, now that human beings hate change, how can we go about this? First, in any organization, please, now, like never before, in the past, we concentrated much on knowledge and skill alone. Now we have to work on attitudes and abilities, and especially we now want emotional intelligence. What am I talking here? I'm talking people who are confident enough to be motivated enough to do the right thing, and to be motivated enough to work independently, to be independent enough to work interdependently with other people. Then you move people to excellence. Anybody who is highly emotionally intelligent will not fear change. If anything, they'll have self-efficacy to do the best and move to the next paradigm. Why? Because they are emotionally and socially, and they are socially intelligent and emotionally intelligent and morally intelligent. Then now, if you are going to make sure that you change culture in organizations, then please spend more money on top of knowledge and skill. Spend more money on emotional intelligence and competencies. Much earlier, people never used to do competency analysis and come up with competency frameworks. People just used to work with job descriptions. That is not important anymore. Today, chances are, like in Kenya, you'll have people who have skills, you'll have people who have knowledge. Maybe what will let them hate change is because they're not confident. And then they are not, they can't go for high self-belief. They can't be highly motivated because they're not emotionally intelligent. Yeah. So if you really want to approach change culture, it's important that develop competency frameworks, work on people's emotional intelligence, make sure that they're highly motivated. And once they're highly motivated, they'll be confident. And anybody who is confident will not suffer dependency syndrome. They'll be independent enough, but not too independent to fail to work interdependently. And once you have that, then you cushion that problem of resisting change. Another thing is, let people work in teams. When they are working in teams, socially, they learn from each other. Then they bond. Then they don't fear change, because they know, even if I'm going through a challenging situation, the team will be there. And psychologically, the team will be helping you to cope. If you organize work functionally, those were things which were done in 1920s, to organize work functionally, then give somebody a job description, then make the organizational structure, so tight. You can't do that today. Today, let me manage my performance, but let us work in teams. So that I become a manager of my performance, but I'm a part of a team. Then the team helps me to learn. The team helps me socially to cope. So that when psychologically and socially I'm strained because of a highly changing situation, I can rely on the team. Yeah, I can rely on the team. So please create teams. Then again, don't look at work functional. Work today, look at it as processes and systems. Then changing and fitting will be easy than if you organize functionally. So those are some of the things you can do. And then again, improve, come up with organization that has better effective communication. What do I mean? Don't create so many hierarchical levels. Encourage open flow, encourage things that encourage effective communication so that stress levels will be low. Yeah. And then again, as you're managing change, come up with performance management systems that are allowing people to negotiate and co-own. Simply what I mean is come up with a system where people can manage their performance. What we call sometimes performance management by agreement. And all this helps you to remove stress so that I don't fear changing situations, even if situations will be highly dynamic, but I'll negotiate them. I'll talk, we'll agree, and we will find how to go about it so that I don't suffer anxieties, which are unnecessary because I negotiated my condition of work and I negotiated the outputs and the outcomes and they are clear. And with that now, I'll feel okay. I won't feel so challenged. So if you do that, you'll make change, you'll cushion change. Can I repeat them again? To cushion change so that people don't hate change situations a lot. Number one, I said, and you as a leader see it coming, anticipate change. And how are you going to anticipate change? Come up with proper planning processes. I mean, quality strategic plans, and then information flow that is proper so that you get what we call DSS, decision support systems, which are relevant and giving you rich information on the paradigms, how they are. Then once you see them, then you can predict and you can preempt. Then you don't get into any crisis. Actually, people who do crisis studies say only 14% of things most managers handle as crisis are crisis. They are never crisis. If you anticipate it, then you reduce it to 84%. Then it becomes more manageable. Then you can now manage change. Number two, don't talk change without a change plan. Come up with a change plan, and in the plan, identify who will be affected, how they'll be affected, and how you are going to cushion them. You have to come up with a program that is going to cushion people who will be affected by the change, and then go ahead and implement that properly. If you implement it properly, nobody will reject change. And thirdly, I execute the program and evaluate it so that it works the way you wanted. Then in such a case, you're managing change. And fourthly, on the organization, the way I said, like number one, motivate people. And highly motivated people will be ever learning and ever changing. Then you get a pro-change culture. And what I'm saying there is, don't let people just have knowledge and skill only. No, that was a 1920 thinking. Now, we want people to tap into their unique competences and become also emotionally intelligent so that they can be confident enough, to be highly motivated enough to go for better practices. It's not easy. If you get somebody who can have self-efficacy to do the best, is somebody who is highly motivated. Somebody who is highly motivated will be willing to learn and change. And that motivation must come from the individual because he's emotionally intelligent. Why? He's confident. He understands his environment, he's confident, and because of that, he can work with others and learn from others as well. So he'll not suffer dependency and pressures that come with dependency feeling, and he'll not be too independent to be frustrated, but he will be independent enough to be interdependent. Then you get teams which can cushion people about change. So you must create organizational culture that is encouraging emotional intelligence, social intelligence, and moral intelligence. And moral intelligence is also very important because these are the people who, out of integrity, they'll be motivated enough to learn and change and sacrifice. And this, you can't force. They have to do it on their own. So what am I saying? Again, develop competency frameworks, encourage all the studies that go with helping people to become emotionally intelligent. Then in such a case now, you can roll out a competitive, unique, sustainable center of excellence in an environment that is highly changing, and you can cope with it. Before I hand over to Mr. Kajumbi, welcome. I've seen Mr. Kajumbi around. I don't want to take all the time because we just want to do 1 hour. So I want to give 10 minutes now because we are doing 7:21. Any reaction on change? Any question on change?
Evans.
Yeah.
How are you doing?
I'm fine. I'm fine.
Let me just make some comments.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm getting you.
And I say to our participants, welcome to this evening's talk. Something about change.
Yes.
It will always be resisted because it disturbs the normal, what people are used to. So sometimes it becomes necessary for you to have a team that believes in what you believe, for you to move ahead, a team of champions, people who are strong to follow you all the way.
Yes,
you must also be able to scan the environment very carefully, because in every change situation, there are those who gain from it, there are those who lose from it. The most dangerous people are the people who lose from that change. A story is told of a water project in Murang'a County, Kandara Water Project. It came there sometimes back when we had this vision by the Minister of Water, water to every home by the year 2000. Of course, we are now in the year 2020. I don't think there is water in every home in Kandara, specifically in Kandara area of Murang'a. What happened is the then Assistant Minister, I think it was Amwishigi, wanted water to every home, which sounded very nice. But so they started laying the pipeline to supply water the whole constituency. But one interesting development was seen. Every time they laid the pipeline, in the evening they were uprooted. And they were wondering, why should that go that way? The reason was, we had these Mkokoteni guys who used to sell water all over the place. And they knew if there was water to every home, wamemalizika. So it is always, and they actually sabotage the project. So whenever you start on a change management, or if you undertake any changes, first ask who is going to lose, because the losers can easily sabotage you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Kajumbi. Actually, maybe let me just explain that further. I didn't want to go so academic, but Kurt Levin, the field theory of change, there'll always be people will be pro-change and people will not be pro-change. Now, pick the people who are pro-change, make them your change champions, and use them in implementing your change program. And that's why you're a leader. You have to understand your people and understand your group dynamics so well. Yeah. Any other reaction? Can give 6 minutes so that Mr. Kajumbi starts at 7:30, then we end by 8. Okay, in event that there's not any other reaction, then Mr. Kajumbi, I think the floor is yours. You can take them through effective leadership. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Evans. Participants, I am happy to share this discussion with you this evening. Leadership is a very difficult concept to to define, because there are as many definitions as there are leaders. And it is a value-laden word. Can anyone tell me why we elected Sonko to be the governor of Nairobi? Class. I want some reaction on that.
My view,
Yes.
it was more of anti-Kidero than pro-Sonko.
What values or qualities that Sonko possess that Kidero did not have?
Hello.
Class.
Yeah. Valerie here.
For me, I think it was. Sorry, Valerie, go ahead.
Okay.
Valerie has muted. Yeah.
Sorry, Valerie here. I think what made people choose Sonko was the fact that people could relate with Sonko.
Yes, and if you had a son, would you want him to be a Sonko?
Sorry?
If you had a baby boy and you want to groom him to be a leader, would you like him to be the person of Sonko?
No, definitely not.
Why not?
Well, I did not vote for Sonko. So yeah, I just do not see him as an effective leader to me. I don't know. And some of his mannerisms I do not prescribe to. So yeah, I will not want my child to be like Sonko. But there's some aspects of Sonko that I would like my child to have, like the way he can easily relate to people. That is a big plus for Sonko. I think that one overshadows everything else he might be involved in or whatever else he does.
Thank you. Now, what about Waitito in Kiambu? What can the Kiambu people tell us if they are on this forum? Any reactions? Any reactions from class? Why do you think the people of Kiambu elected Sonko? Waitito?
Because of Kabogo's arrogance. That's how Waitito was elected.
So that was who? Salano. So that's why I was saying.
That was Patrick.
Oh, you're Patrick, okay. So you are beginning to see now why it becomes very difficult to define leadership. Because the things people like about certain individuals vary from one person to another. And that's why we are saying leadership is a very value-laden concept, a very value-laden word. It occurs in different situations and it has different meanings to different people. But there's just a general, a contemporary definition is that leadership is about influence. Nothing else but influence. Now, a leader leads from the front. And as you must have seen in our notes, we have said, you must be able to have a vision. We are going to Canaan. That Canaan must be convincing for the people. They will follow you. You must inspire them. You must show them the way. They must buy into your vision. They must buy into your mission. The kind of person you are individually also influences what people think about you. Sometimes people respect you not because you are a doctor, not because you are so and so, but they respect you because you are a daktari. If you are a professor in a school, in a university, or anywhere, people just respect you because you are a professor. So leadership is that complex. But there are some qualities that a leader really needs, and we given them in our notes. You need empathy. You must be able to go down and understand the problem of the people from their own perspective, not from your perspective. You must have a sense of humor. You must be persuasive. You must be a problem solver. You must make decisions. You should be able to take risks in the best interest of your followers or the organization. You must have a high degree of awareness to see the world around you and the world beyond you. More importantly, you must have integrity. People must trust you. You must be consistent in what you say. You must have that wisdom, trust, competence, and commitment. These are things people look at. People like Sonko because he can go to Mkuru Wanjenga and eat nyama choma with them. People like Waititu because he felt like them. And so that's why they were elected governors in some of our very, very important counties in this country. So sometimes you need to take some time and reflect and ask yourself, what am I? What values am I exhibiting? Say it's about integrity, it is about dedication, it is about humility, it is about being open, fair, assertive, and persistent. Of course, there are a number of leadership styles. They could be, you are the kind of guy who says, kama nimesema, nimesema. We call it autocratic or a dictator. You may be a guy who listens a lot and allows a lot of participation in the decision-making process. We say that is democratic. You may be this kind of guy who just delegates and you don't bother to follow through. You only get angry when things don't work out the way you want. That is a hands-off style of leadership. You may ask, which is the best? There are moments you must apply autocratic tactics. There are moments you must allow people to participate. There are moments you must listen to expert advice, and so on and so on. Different styles work differently in different situations. You may want to discuss, but sometimes the situation is such that there is no time for discussion. In such a case, it might just well be you dictate and you move on. But you go to check that very, very, very carefully. You must be aware of the environment around you. In public service, there are very many challenges that come with the leadership. One of them is bureaucracy. There are rules and regulations. Many times, leaders in the public service get in trouble because they did not follow the rules and regulations that are there. There are those who are very inside looking. You only see it from a perspective. For example, I'm told doctors listen and prescribe. They don't discuss it with you. Engineers are very particular about details. They want to know if this metal is going to touch on it. Is there going to be friction? And if there is friction, how are we going to overcome that kind of friction? So in their decision-making process, they want a lot of details. The accountants are worried about economic use of resources. So sometimes they look very mean, and so on and so on. So we have some people who think throughout inside the box, and that can be a challenge. We have problems of political patronage, as you know. We have mediocre culture in some places. You go to some departments, up to now, they don't even have a computer. They are still typing, the old typist with a typing machine. There is poor networking. You do not know what happens in the next office. You do not know what happens in the accounts office. You don't even know how public goods and services are procured, because as far as you are, I am a doctor. The business of procurement is not mine, and so on and so on and so on. Now, I just want to talk lastly about some positive leadership behaviors. As a leader, you must be able to enable others to act. Foster collaboration, the team building Evans has just talked about. You must be able to support that team you are working with. You must be able to overcome small things that come their way. When a junior officer comes and tells you, today, I'm sorry, I need to go back home, because when I woke up this morning, I found my maid had run away. My house help has run away. When you look at Kenya Public Service regulations, there is nowhere it says that if a member of staff has no maid at home, she's entitled to time off to go and look for a maid. But you can imagine that lady officer who comes and tells you that, and you say to her, it is not in the regulations. Find your own way of solving that problem. I'm not giving you time off. Obviously, that lady will not work for you that day. She may even tell you, I am going away. If you want to sack me, you sack me. So support your followers in some of their personal needs. Model the way, lead by example. Encourage others to act and recognize the contributions of others. We are not the only one who knows. Even those people low down there understand the business better than you. So listen to their ideas. And I think I want to end at that and request if there are any questions or discussions, we do it together. Thank you. Evans, back to you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Kajumbi. Participants, any reaction, any comment on the two units we have talked? We have talked managing change, and we have talked effective leadership. They are very, very related. Any effective leader will be an excellent change manager. And every situation is a changing situation. So you can ask anything you want clarified further, and try to relate this to your work situation. I was given you a brief. You are medics from, you are all doctors. That's what I was told, eh? True. Am I talking to medics? Hello?
Yes.
Huh?
Not everyone is a medic.
How is the composition?
Most are medics, but some are not. It's a mixed.
So, what have you learned? What is your takeaway related to your work situation? First, let me start with my area. Are you challenged with highly changing situations? What are you going to do differently? We still have some time. What are you going to do differently? I'm seeing Faith struggling with a lighting system. Faith, where are you? Okay. Any reaction? In a situation where there's no reaction, I think I've seen your coordinator on board. Susan, you want to say something? Susan. Yes, sir.
Yes.
You want to make a comment? Because I think we're winding up.
Okay.
Do you want to make a comment?
Maybe I can just say hi. And I think the class leadership are the one who are going to lead us, maybe in any announcement that may be there, they may be having. But then I think we will be having another session before the end of the week on risk management by Dr. Moni. So maybe the leaders of the class will organize for that and let us know their convenient time.
Yeah, and just to make a comment to the class, I think we posted discussion questions. These are topical questions. You can relate to them, and we will have a chat over that. We'll have reaction over that on the topical discussion questions. That is what I can say. Yeah. Otherwise, in event that there's no any other further reaction, can we call the meeting off now? Susan, you can wind up if.
Okay. Yeah.
Hello.
Yes.
Yes, I think if there is no other issue, I think unless there are any other question, I've not seen any questions, so we can maybe wind up with a word of prayer.
Yeah. Can somebody pray for us?
Okay, I'll lead the prayer.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Okay, let us pray. Lord, I want to thank you for this good session that we have had. I want to commit it and what you have learned to your able hands, that we may understand it and internalize it in our places of work, and that you may continue being with us and guiding us throughout the other sessions we'll have. Thank you, and be with each one of us as we sleep and wake up to work tomorrow. In the name of Jesus Christ, I pray and believe. Amen.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Amen.
So,
Amen.
Hello.
Yes.
Hello.
Sally, you want to say something? Yeah, I raised. Yeah, I'm saying I had raised a question though, but somebody, it's like you didn't notice on the chat about influencing a team in a case whereby there are people who don't seem to like you naturally as a manager. No, what do you do?
Evan Sokoy,
okay.
are you still on board?
I'm still on board. Now,
Yeah,
in case, that's what I was trying to address. In change situations, you could be managing a situation which makes people not very popular. But I think the best thing to do, first you the leader, be emotionally intelligent. When you're emotionally intelligent, you can accommodate varying views without taking offense. And any emotionally intelligent leader, first, you are independent enough to be confident. So you don't suffer dependency. So you don't allow yourself to get into a situation where you get hurt. Yeah. And also in the so that when you have done that on yourself, then again now you will not allow yourself to get into a situation where you get affected when other people, because most change situations are not pleasant in some cases, because they're forcing you out of your status quo, which none of us likes. But you see, you have to do your job. And then again, to avoid these things, don't get personal. In most cases, major changes in organization are strategic changes, which means you are just executor of a strategy. So why should you make it personal, and why should somebody make it personal? So if it is explained well to people, I think they'll understand. So don't get personal. Yeah, you don't suffer dependency. Don't get personal. It's nothing personal. You're just doing your job. And when the strategic part is explained well to people and they understand their role into it, then it should not be a problem. Yeah, it shouldn't be a problem. Yeah, but also as a manager, you also have to develop thick skin. Yeah, you have to develop thick skin. Yeah.
Okay.
Because not every situation will be likable. That's what I can say. Yeah, thank you. Any other query?
The proof we need to take Vincent Scarlett down. The best part's still coming up. What do you mean? Just watch.
Goodbye. Good night, everyone.
Good night.